What's up, everybody? It's your channel TFD back in the building with another big update. And this time, it looks like Coach Stephanie White just dropped a major piece of news about Caitlin Clark's injury status. You already know, we gotta take this one straight up to Indianapolis. Buckle up, because this could change everything. So, if you haven't heard already, Stephanie White just spoke to the media, and I'm telling you right now, she dropped some real answers. She gave us some updates on Kayla Clark. Personally, I feel like Kayla Clark is going to play this weekend. They're not going to take any chances. Caitlin Clark is set to make her comeback. And then there's Aari McDonald. Honestly, it's not just a maybe. Aari McDonald's future with the Fever is looking uncertain. After this weekend, this could really be it for her. With all that being said, I'm not going to bore you or hold you up. Let's pull it up right now. Roll the clip.
Routinely, the injury updates, what were Caitlin and Sophie able to do today, and how do you anticipate their status being?
Well, yeah, I mean, we limited their reps, but really tried to get him up and down the floor a little bit, starting to try to get into game rhythm, game speed, game pace, timing a little bit off, rhythm a little bit off, but continuing to try to work them in as much as we could.
How have you tried, it's been such a disruptive first month, how have you tried to help this team navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just understanding that, we have opportunity to grow through some circumstances that might not be ideal. The ball's getting in other people's hands outside of Caitlin because she's not on the floor, and how are we able to get one another in positions to be successful? Players are getting minutes that might have been limited with both Caitlin and Sophie out. I think the other piece is really balancing overuse for players like Kelsey and Lexi, and trying to get them rest and things like that. But we got to maintain perspective. We can only control what we can control, and we want to make sure that we're still continuing to grow and get better in areas. And then when we reintegrate them, then we have to be patient and give grace while allowing ourselves to continue to grow now with them.
And you talked about finding an identity with Caitlin out for these past 2 weeks and kind of getting more people those ball handling reps. Just how have you seen that grow in the last couple weeks of Caitlin?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, Sid's been given more of an opportunity. We had Aari in there as well. Prior to Sophie's injury, Sophie was doing that as well. Lexi's had to. So, I think when you get in situations where teams make it a point to try to take Caitlin out of handling the ball, now we've got other players who have experience doing that. So the first time they're doing it is not necessarily in game in the latter part of the season. So for us, I think other players are getting comfortable in that role. Now it's not always looked pretty. We haven't always gotten the high percentage shots you get with Caitlin on the floor. I mean, that's part of just Caitlin being a generational player, is the way that she not only scores it, but makes everybody else better.
Sophie also talked about maybe she came back a little bit too early after her first ankle injury and then re-aggravated. So how are you just trying to be cautious with her, especially coming back after 2 ankles?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just listening to the training staff and trusting our gut when we get her out there and see her moving, and if there's any sort of questions or hesitancy in movement patterns and in the way that whatever the sports science pieces that we have tell us that maybe she's not balanced or unequal, that we scale it back a little bit, and that we be patient on that. And the first time that she's out there isn't a game, right? It's working her way back in practice.
This energy in town right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, it's, as someone who grew up in the state of Indiana, and as the saying goes, right, this is Indiana. And so the energy is incredible. It's such a fun time to be in the city. Yes, I was here the last time the Pacers were in the finals back in 2000. I remember being in the building and just feeling that energy, and it's exciting. There's no better place, the epicenter of basketball in Indiana and in Indianapolis.
It's not like the team with championship aspirations needs more motivation. But can actually seeing it in your building, seeing what this pomp and circumstance looks like, it has to plant a seed.
Oh, I'm sure. And I also think seeing the way that the Pacers have done it, right? The way that they've built and rebuilt with the roster, and the patience that they've shown in the roster and in roster movement, the adversity that they faced early in the year, the growing from being this fast, exciting offensive team a year ago to being a solid defensive team that has won playoff games for them. Won regular season games, won playoff games when the offense wasn't necessarily flowing. I mean, 2 of the elite point guards in the game on either side. So I think there are so many things that we can take from this Pacers run. The resilience that they show throughout the course of a game. I mean, no deficit is too much. They stay the course. They play the same way. I mean, all these are great lessons for us to see right here in our building.
What are some of the specific table setting skills about Sydney Colson that made her attractive to you guys as a team?
Well, I think first and foremost, being a part of championship teams. You know, championship team in college, championship team in the W, playing a lot of different roles. I mean, one of the most impressive things to me will always be that Sydney had a number of DNPs. You know, heading into the finals, the year that Chelsea Gray gets hurt, she has to start, she has to play, and lead them to a championship. You know, having a player that's a pro like that, having a player who understands the moment, who's great. You know, on the bench, who's great in the locker room, and who stays ready when her number's called is important. It's not just important to have it on the floor, it's important to have it in our locker room so that our young players can see this is what being a professional means. This is what it's like.
Do you see that leadership come naturally to her to encourage her to say anything to anybody? How does that go?
No, I think early just encouraging her and allowing her to embrace that role. You know, you're not sitting back and waiting, but now you see it. I mean, Sid is like another coach on the floor. Every time she's starting to say something, you know, in a huddle or to a teammate or out there while we're doing a drill, you know, I keep thinking to myself, I know she wants to be a comedian, but she'd make a hell of a coach.
Without knowing the ins and outs of how we do things here, how much do you, the player's always going to say, I'm ready. How much do you trust the player input when you're deciding whether it's time to bring someone back?
Well, there's time to what?
When it's time to bring someone back from injury.
From injury?
The player's always going to
Yeah, I mean, you know, being a former player myself, you know, we're always sometimes a little too ambitious. So I think number one, we watch and we observe. Number two, really rely on the training staff. I mean, the health and wellness and safety of our players long term is the most important thing. And three, you know, as we're evaluating practice, it's like, okay, if she doesn't look like she's moving great, then we'll pull her out a few reps and we'll see. We'll limit the minutes. I mean, you know, and it's not just coming back and playing in the game. It's okay. Well, is it smart of us to play someone for 5-6 minute stretches instead of 2 or 3 minute stretches as they're working their way back, so that we don't have any other setbacks? I mean, now it's not just about the basketball portion. Now it's reconditioning to what it means to play a game of basketball.
So there you have it, folks. Straight from Stephanie White herself, Caitlin Clark's ramp-up is happening, and all signs point to a return real soon. The Fever are being cautious, but make no mistake, they're getting her ready. And Aari McDonald, yeah, this might really be it for her in Indiana. Now, Coach Steph dropped a lot of insight, from managing Clark and Side's return, to the impact of Sydney Colson's leadership, and even pulling lessons from the Pacers' playoff run. The bottom line is this: the Fever are trying to build something sustainable, something real. And they're not rushing it. They're focused on the long game, championship culture, smart reintegration, and leadership at every level. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is Caitlin going to light it up this weekend? Should Aari get one more shot? And can the Fever follow that Pacers blueprint to greatness? You already know I'm reading all your takes. Smash that like button if you're rocking with TFD, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and stay locked in. We got more fire coming your way. Until next time.